The following is a paid program and does not necessarily reflect the opinions of the staff or management of Visionary Related Entertainment.
Hello and welcome to Mind, Body, Spirit Inspirational Talk Radio. I'm your host, Liah Howard, and today our special guest is Dr. Aurora Juliana Ariel. And Dr. Ariel is an author, a speaker, a teacher, producer, recording artist, and pioneer in the field of healing. She is the founder of The Quest, a breakthrough counseling technique that unlocks the power of the soul to heal and transform individual lives and the destiny of humanity. Our topic for today is Earth 2012, Time of the Awakening Soul. Welcome, Dr. Juliana.
Thank you.
And thanks so much for being the guest. I had the opportunity to read your book, to listen to one of your to read your first book, listen to one of your CDs, and also get a private session with you. We're going to be talking about that. But before we do, I like to start the show with a message from the angels. And each time I pull a card, I mix up this deck, Healing with the Angels, and pull a card. And here's the most perfect card for our show today, the message from the angelic kingdom. Retreat. Spend some time alone and quiet. In quiet thought, clear your mind and focus on your truth and your priorities. Are you pushing yourself too hard, beloved child of God? The angels remind us that rest is a natural cycle in every living thing. Think of the mighty oak tree that grows in spurts and then rests. It draws its nourishment from deep within the earth and takes its time before growing upward again. Like the oak tree, it's important for you to nourish yourself with spiritual and emotional food. While you are resting, take time to reflect on your heart's true feelings and desires. Your angels speak to you through your heart, and when you listen to and honor your feelings, you walk hand in hand with God and the angels. You will know that it is true divine guidance and not just your imagination or wishful thinking if it speaks of your desire to make a difference in the world. So, I mean, we're both shaking our heads because
yes.
I did this session with you yesterday, and this card is so absolutely perfect because the whole session was about relaxing and letting go, and we're going to talk about it more in depth, but your wonderful, wonderful self-counseling technique with the 7 steps is changing lives and changing the world. Before we go into detail about that, tell us a little bit about 2012. Is the world going to end? There's so much hype about it. What's going on here?
Yes, and that wasn't a yes, the world is going to end, but yes, very powerful topic. I think we're in a very serious time, and it's something that is very important for all of us to become aware of what is happening on the planet, what is happening inside of us, and what we can do to play our unique roles in these coming times. There's a lot of prophecies and predictions that I write about in book 1, predictions that are scientific as well as from the Indian nations. And they speak of a time of travail when humanity would undergo a time of testing, a time when the planet would start suffering and feeling burdened by the weight of pollution and wars and increase of virulent storms. I personally believe we have entered that time, long prophesied, that the time of travail is here now, not coming upon us, and that humanity is coming to a point in time where we have to reckon with our past, where we're having to face our actions and how those have related into physical dilemmas like pollution and global warming, and that we need to become more conscious and wise stewards if we're going to make it through this challenging time.
And so the work that you do actually helps to clean up the earth by one person at a time, right?
Yes, very definitely. I traced through many years of pioneering work in the psyche, directly in the psyche, and thousands of clients and myself. And I was in a search to find out what is behind all the suffering going on. Like, what are some of this mythology about We're sinners, so this is a planet of, where we come like a penal system where we're paying back for our sins, or, is it really our karma or is something else taking place? Like, why does bad things happen to good people?
Well, you actually had a devastating illness that you healed yourself from.
Mm-hmm.
So that was through this work.
Well, that was a huge wake-up call for me, because at the time I was living all what I thought were the highest spiritual formulas on the planet of how to live a conscious life and a spiritually focused life and a mission-oriented life. And yet at the same time, I contracted 2 heart attacks within 6 months and an incurable heart virus that I was told could quickly debilitate me to death. So it was my own wake-up call, just as humanity overall is having a shake-up at this time and a big wake-up.
And so you worked with the patterns, the subconscious patterns. That's when you started really looking at them.
Well, in the beginning, that's when I realized that something was amiss. How could I be a good person following these spiritual formulas and have this going on? And even beyond that, how did I draw in a relationship that was so heartbreaking that would lead to these conditions? And at the time, I was doing what I call spiritual bypass. I had learned through these, spiritual technologies and trainings, teachings that, when you're feeling upset, come above it, be in your higher awareness, be peaceful, not negative. And I was a master at it. So the whole time I was suffering really heartbreak and abuse and some devastating circumstances, I very quickly would get myself back up to a higher awareness, and then I would throw myself into literal service of, I was doing a lot then, a TV show and bringing out information and
raising 4 kids,
counseling and coaching, and also having events and services in my home for the planet. So I literally abandoned myself by the spiritual bypass, and that made my heartbreak go into a physical illness. And it was so huge because it only took 2 years to happen. 2 years of a very devastating, painful relationship that overnight I started getting abused by someone I thought was my soulmate, so lending to the depth of heartbreak. And so I went on a journey, and it wasn't right away that I realized that there were underlying patterns that needed to be healed. Because the medical profession couldn't assist me, I went into alternative. But I went into more advanced healing modalities, and coincidentally or synchronistically, I was drawn to pioneering doctors in healing modalities that weren't even in the books yet. Some of them, they're just very advanced. And I was so, I got so immersed and excited by it, I actually took all the trainings. And so over a couple years, I was able to keep myself from debilitating. But I couldn't affect a cure from it. But I was actually just keep my energy levels up and not, do the devastating walk that many people would with an illness like that. And so it was a little bit later after that Grandmaster Kimo Pang, a Hawaiian kahuna, stepped in my life. And he, within a couple days, told me he had seen visions that in the future I would be helping people heal their lives all over the planet, and that he saw clearly he needed to pass his lineage, the kahuna lineage, to me, and that I would become his successor, whereas a lot of his training focus was in Shaolin martial arts through his 2 schools in Portland and Oahu. So that began my journey into the psyche.
Wow. Well, they say when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And I know you're an incredible teacher for many, many people all around the world. You have a world tour coming up, and we're going to be talking about that after the break. I do want to let our listeners know that you have 2 books available and 3 CDs now, and you are going to be getting a special honorary award next week in Denver. And could you just tell us the name of that award?
It's the COVR, the Coalition for Visionary Arts Award. I guess it's amazing and prestigious, and I'll be attending a banquet ceremony next week for my first book in the Earth 2012 series, The Ultimate Quest, How to Find Peace in a World of Chaos. And I don't know yet if it's first place or second, but everyone hold the vision for me.
We are holding the vision for you.
But at least it's award-winning, and that's really exciting because I poured my whole heart and soul and years of landmark discoveries into this.
I want to give our listeners your website. It's www.Aurora Juliana Ariel, AuroraJulianaAriel.com, AuroraJulianaAriel.com. We're going to take a short break, and as we go into the break, we're going to listen to a little bit of the music from your CD, Renaissance of Grace.
Do you want to increase your self-esteem, look your best, and feel great? Then give yourself a gift that can change your life. Join Powerhouse Gym in Kihei at 1279 South Kihei Road at the Azeka Plaza. They've got personal trainers, and your membership gets you started with a free session with a certified trainer. There's great workout classes, too. Yoga, spinning, body sculpting, and much more. Call Powerhouse Gym today at 875-7993. The friendliest fitness facility on the island. That's 875-7993.
Do you have an inspiring message, skill, gift, or product to share with others? Would you like to reach thousands of people across the island with this message at a reasonable cost? Call Liah Howard at 808-269-3137 and become a guest or sponsor on Mind, Body, Spirit Inspirational Talk Radio. Mind, Body, Spirit is dedicated to bringing our listeners quality, uplifting programming focused on nourishing the body, mind, heart, and soul. Now is the time to be a guest or sponsor, so call Liah today and get your message heard at 808-269-3137. That's 808-269-3137.
Hello, I am Darlene Strickland, Minister for Unity Church on Maui. I'd like to invite you to our weekly Sunday service at 10 a.m. at the Filipino Community Center in Kahului at 780 Onahei Street. People often ask, what can I expect? Expect a miracle and the fellowship of other seekers and finders, an inspiring message, great music, and a better understanding of who you are and your connection to all that is. For more information, visit www.unityonmaui.org or call 242-9327. For prayer assistance anytime, call 1-800-NOW-PRAY.
Hi, this is Psychic Channel Liah Howard. Please join me for Intuitive Development and Channeling classes. This 10-week series of classes is designed to teach you how to enhance your natural intuitive ability and to connect with your spirit guides. You will learn how to bring through messages from your higher self, guides, and angels. A variety of approaches will be presented in a safe and supportive environment. Please call me at 808-269-3137 or go to www.liahhoward.com. Welcome back. You're listening to Mind, Body, Spirit Inspirational Talk Radio. I'm your host, Liah Howard, and today our guest is Dr. Aurora Juliana Ariel, and we are talking about Earth 2012, Time of the Awakening Soul, Awakening the Soul, which is the second book here. So, Dr. Ariel, we were talking about how you healed yourself from this debilitating illness and developed the quest. Tell us more about that.
So after my journey with the kahuna, in 1993, he initiated me as a kahuna. I had a vision to keep delving deeply in the psyche because he had led me into the psyche through Ho'oponopono and some of the really incredible ancient huna arts. And it was a very experiential journey for me. So I entered a BA, MA, and PhD programs all kind of on top of each other over the next years. And in my master's degree program in University of Santa Monica, known as USM, I was able to master the most cutting-edge counseling technologies, counseling theories and practices from the last century, Gestalt, NLP, psychosynthesis, a host of them. And then from there, when I had received my doctorate, I went on to do my own research directly in the psyche, and that was directly through sessions and my own. And through that process, I was able to find a way to isolate the parts of self, the subconscious parts of self that are subpersonalities, which I call inner aspects, in charge of my illness, to trace my illness to the heartbreak I endured in that challenging relationship, and beyond that to the patterns that were created that actually even drew in the relationships, and then the subsequent illness. And I was able to successfully heal my heart. And about 10 years ago, I saw a cardiologist here in Hawaii who told me emphatically there's no signs of damage on my heart, that my heart doesn't even look like it ever suffered 2 heart attacks or any bad side effects from the illness.
That is wonderful. And that is very inspiring. So not only can you heal the heart, the emotional heart, you can heal the physical heart as well.
I found that to be true, and subsequently with many clients, I've seen even physical miracles from this work.
Well, what I understand from reading the book and really investigating your website is that as we heal our deep subconscious programming, our external world changes for the better.
It's very exciting because, and I've been playing around with this for years, but literally altering my future and that of my clients. And what I found is that our natural fate, let's call it, because I don't want to say destiny, is really an outcome of our accumulation of subconscious programs, and what percentage our authentic selves or true natures is able to play out in our lives. So you see on this planet a predominant of pattern-driven realities, and this is what has caused all the suffering and misery. This is why good people have bad things happen to them, because even if they're doing like myself at that time with practicing all the highest formulas on the planet for spiritual and even material success, we can have our lives be unraveling at the same time, like mine was and other people's, because of this programming.
Let's talk a little bit more about the victim self and the authentic self and what you mean by those.
Well, I call, and a lot of people these days are calling our subconscious aspects and their programming the shadow self, which is a more victim self because it feels victimized by life. And of course, on this planet, we've been taught victimhood. We have not been taught responsibility. So there's this big mythology that these bad things are happening to us and someone else is responsible. There's a lot of blaming, or blaming God. God is smiting us, or blaming self of I'm a sinner and I'm bad. And all of these things I found through my own research is mythology. These are myths. The truth is, and I'm sorry if that rattles some cages and shakes people up on this planet, the truth is, in thousands of sessions, I never once found God or a devil orchestrating the demise of humanity or creating suffering in anyone's lives. I 100% of the time have found it is traced. You can trace every condition: illness, hardship, financial stress, relationship issues, to the subconscious programming that has been passed generationally down our family lines and picked up through our own life experiences. And this is what is so exciting. Number one, we don't have to blame ourselves for the hard things happening in our life, but we do need to take responsibility for what we're drawing in and take our attentions off the mean people that are doing it to us, to why have I drawn this in, and what part of me is drawing this unhappy circumstance. When you stand in that place of empowerment and truth, then you can go in and remedy it. And with the quest, I bring out tools not only to train practitioners, which has always normally been done with counseling theory and practices like NLP and Gestalt, but I've developed a 7-step self-counseling process as well, where the layperson can do it. And I've proven that they can with teens and youth at risk, with the teen forums I've held and healing circles with adult, that anyone can do this.
And this 7-step process is in your first book.
Yes, I've laid it completely out. In book 1, I literally gave my full body of knowledge and this technology to the world because I want people to be able to do it in their own lives like I do it. And this then creates what I call the Quest Life Mastery Path. If we want to have self-mastery, we need to get masterful of our shadow, our subconscious programming. There's no way to consciously will ourselves into mastery and a happy life and abundant circumstances when we have all this stuff running havoc from our subconscious. So the more that we become masterful in dealing with these issues as they arise and tracing them to the subconscious components in charge and literally healing them for the last time, is the degree in which we're going to be living out of our authentic natures and our proactive positive selves most of the time. And that's the difference. How to learn how to know which voice is activated inside you when you're upset. It's the shadow self, which you call the victim self. When you're happy, proactive, peaceful, creative, you're in your authentic self. And we want to live in there more often, but also deal effectively with the subconscious, not ignore it and be in a spiritual bypass, which created all my early problems.
So if you were to summarize the second book, so the first book is really more the history of 2012, lots of great documentation in there, incredible quotes, full of information, and this process, the quest. What's the second book?
The second book focuses in on the awakening souls and why I believe we could be moving into a positive future, even in the midst of all these dire potentials and increasing impending catastrophes. I speak about a certain type of person, which I coined in book 1 as the violet person. And I call them violet people, the awakening ones, because of the violet signature they bear. I include in the book 22 master qualities of the violet person that people can go in and kind of take the little test and see if they are one, if they're a budding violet or full blossomed violet.
What would be a couple of them?
What, a couple of the qualities? Some of the things that I find consistent in this group, the soul group, which I want to mention, I believe there's from 80 to 100 million and more of these individuals worldwide, okay, born into every nation and background and religious background throughout the planet. And they were prophesied, which we can talk about a little later. They were prophesied as a coming race. One of the significant aspects to these individuals is they have a vision of a transformed world. They come in with a fire to make a difference, and they are unsettled by the conditions of the planet. They do not sit with them or the patterns they've been passed on with, but they chafe at them, and this leads them into the inner world for answers, and that's why the human potential movement was born in the 60s, and why not only do we have Starbucks on every and other coffee shops on every corner to keep people revved up on their missions, but we actually have all these technologies, and we've ventured into the psyche now, which I feel is the last frontier and the most important frontier we will ever traverse as a humanity.
So your philosophy then in terms of 2012, because a lot of people are saying let all the systems fall, let everything crash, but during the break you were saying something different that
I don't like that.
You don't like that.
And I don't want to have people thinking like that, because it's not going to be fun to have it all fall apart, and we have to go through the same 10,000 year process we have since the collapsing of Atlantis and some of these other societies we're now unearthing, uncovering today. We don't want to have all the systems break down. We want to move gracefully into an incredible future where we can use these amazing technological advances that have really helped our lives so tremendously, but also bring our heart and spirits along with it. So, a technological society devoid of heart can be seen in some of the communistic systems that we saw in the last century, where people were these drone worker bees and spirit was out of the equation. Following your own inner divine plan and self-actualization was not the theme. The theme was you're a worker bee in the system, and you're pretty insignificant except for your little job that's dictated to you, but it isn't an inner calling. One of the significant things of the awakening souls, the violet people, is they have an inner fire, an inner calling, and they might not know they're violet people or what they're really about, but they will find that in their lifetime, because there's an inner vision and encoding that's compelling their awakening, compelling them. So that's where we get into the exciting part of this next book, because I highlight the more mystical side of this planetary equation and how these individuals are having the most extraordinary experiences, miraculous healings, life changes, and how some of these events are literally being orchestrated by an unseen hand, a seemingly unseen hand, but through angels, divine visitations. People are receiving healings from dolphins. I have collected some of the most amazing stories from around the world and from credible people. A lot of the people I've shared their stories in this first book of these stories, where I'm going to have more stories in the next series, in the next part of the series, is our doctors and physicists and, really credible people that are having these amazing, awakening, mystic experiences.
Thank you. We do need to take a short break. You're listening to Mind, Body, Spirit Inspirational Talk Radio. I'm your host, Liah Howard, and our guest is Dr. Aurora Juliana Ariel, and her website is Aurora Juliana Ariel, AuroraJulianAriel.com. So just note that there's only one A in the middle there, and you can find out more about her books, about the CDs, and about some of your upcoming classes and certification courses that are happening, and also your trip to Egypt. So we'll be right back.
Want to get naturally healthy, find your purpose, and discover the holistic and New Age community on Maui? Then pick up and read Maui Vision Magazine. We make an excellent starting point to get you connected to the right healer or event. In Maui Vision Magazine, you'll find information on yoga, astrology, dance, nutrition, personal growth, holistic health, massage, psychics, spiritual groups, workshops, wellness events, health products, music entertainment, and much more. Best of all, Maui Vision Magazine is free. Pick up your free copy of Maui Vision Magazine at popular retail outlets or call us at 669-9091 to find a location near you. And if you have a product or service that would benefit from marketing to our 6,000 plus readers, we offer low-cost and no-cost ways to get the word out. So get inspired and get in touch. Call us today, 669-9091. Maui Vision Magazine, your guide to natural living.
Gil McCrary is a licensed massage therapist and healer who has been working on Maui since 2000. He offers a wide variety of massages, from a relaxing Swedish or lomi-lomi session that will take out those knots and leave you in the zone, to something therapeutic which can address an injury, recent or chronic, with techniques such as deep friction and trigger point work. He was also trained at the Barbara Brennan School of Healing. Gil loves to combine all these modalities and offers many special treatments, including healing of repetitive stress injuries, restoring resilience to the nervous system, strengthening the chakras, and working with the energetic cords formed in relationships. Gil sees clients both at his home office and as outcalls and can be reached at 283-6851 or at his website bodyworkmaui.com. That's Gil McCrary, 283-6851.
Some people wish life would last forever, but the people we love will come and go from our lives. When a loved one dies, grief and sadness can overwhelm us. Some people ask, "What do I do now?" Share your story. Get information. Ask for help. Honor your memories. When Is Now Foundation, dedicated to helping people honor their grief and look to tomorrow.
The Studio Maui, located in Haiku, has ongoing adult and children's classes in various movement arts, such as yoga, nia, dance, martial arts, and special events and workshops throughout the week. The Studio Maui is a center for wellness and also a facility rental for your next event. Please visit the Studio Maui in Haiku or go to the web at www.thestudiomaui.com or call 575-9390. Welcome back. You're listening to Mind, Body, Spirit Inspirational Talk Radio. I'm your host, Liah Howard, and today our special guest is Dr. Aurora Juliana Ariel, PhD, and we are talking about Earth 2012, time of the Awakening of the Soul. She is an author, speaker, teacher, producer, recording artist, and pioneer in the field of healing. She is the founder of The Quest, a breakthrough counseling technique that unlocks the power of the soul to heal and transform individual lives and the destiny of humanity. Well, I had a session yesterday. We were talking during the break, and it was really beautiful because you started the session with a prayer. And you asked that not only would I be benefited from the session, but that humanity itself would be benefited. So we were just talking about the world, the condition of the world, and that sort of very strong, driven energy. And interestingly enough, that's what I worked on in my session, that part of me that is sort of a task manager, or I call her the sergeant.
Or she was before the session. Afterwards, she looked pretty illumined and not very sergeant-y.
And yeah, so my work at this point is going to be integrating what I learned from the session. And I think that the quest itself, I mean, I read the book, and certainly it was incredibly helpful, but nothing like really doing it. It's sort of like the difference between reading about yoga and actually doing yoga, indeed. Let's talk about the sessions and how you do them, what the format of them is.
Yes, I give sessions to people all over the world. Right now, primarily to my students in my 1 and 2 year programs, and pretty much on sabbatical from clients just because of all this multimedia and bringing out this technology.
And you're doing a lot of speaking, right?
Speaking, promotion, and bringing out the products so people can apply all this. It's very exciting for me, this program. This time I can only take 7 students, and I do want to put out there that there is a few more seats available now as other people are graduating.
For the 2-year certification?
For the 2-year certification program, which is the Quest Master Counselor and Spiritual Leadership Program. And it can be done as an accelerated 1 year. But basically what's exciting about this program is in this minimal amount of time, rather than going through the full PhD process or MFT licensing, where then you're relegated to only practicing in your state, this gives you certification at a minimal of that cost in 2 years or 1 year, and you can do the Quest life coaching and counseling anywhere in the world. Not only that, you can qualify to open a chapter of the Institute. It's a nonprofit Hawaii-based Institute of Advanced Healing. I founded in 2000 to bring out the Quest worldwide, and I did create a model chapter in Aspen, Colorado, where we served the community and showed how a community could be served in communities around the world. And these have support groups and counseling and taking into high schools and all that. So graduates of the program can then elect to be a counselor, to just use it for their own lives, or to really go full-blown into a whole destiny around this of heading a center and serving their community.
So it could be a very concrete career for somebody if they wanted.
Could be an amazing career of really watching lives transform tremendously, because the Quest is very succinct and very fast. And I know that because I've mastered so many others, and most of all the important ones of counseling technologies. I really brought the Quest to a deeper level, a level of understanding and seeing clearly our patterns and how they've run and how they relate to what's happening in our lives, but also the higher purpose of them. And you saw that in your session, how it served you. So yes, it seemed like an unraveling and you were kept driven and all these other things, but then you actually got to see, didn't you, that it served you. It really strengthened some areas for you. And
right. I liked the part of the session where it was really about loving that aspect of myself and sort of integrating that in a positive way instead of resenting it or resenting that whole lineage that I've come through. And I know that I cried a number of times during the session, that I was very moved, that the emotions felt very almost ancient. They just felt like these ancient feelings that had been tucked so far away. And then at the end of the session, I felt very uplifted and light and happy and ready to live the next half of my life in a whole different way.
It's so exciting to know that we can heal these things and that we don't have to live the fate of our programming, that we can live a higher destiny. And that's what we did yesterday. We transformed a major pattern running in your lineage, and in your family line, and I would say throughout all of humanity. And I have, healed in me similar patterns of that A-type, workaholic-driven personality type. And in healing that, you're literally opened a new future for yourself, a future with more happiness, more fulfillment personally, time for love. So I can't wait to see the amazing man that's going to show up and actually have room in your life now, and friendships. And that's the exciting side of this, is that, we can resolve our issues, and quickly we can heal our patterns and addictions, and we can change the conditions in our life. And I found a way. And
the word balance keeps coming to me, that when I think of that session, when I went into it, I was really unbalanced in my energy, in who I am and how I am in the world. And I just feel more balanced inside. I guess maybe between my masculine and feminine parts and my sort of driven and relaxed, happy, playful part.
The results are immediate, and you just moved from being driven by a subconscious personality that was a workaholic, very mission-oriented, and I want to say she had a very high spiritual mission. She was undergoing as a major sergeant, though, implementing it, so you barely had a moment for yourself. And so it was a high calling. Nevertheless, it was human patterned. So the driven aspect was not letting you have a life of balance, a natural flow between your male-female sides of intuition and beauty and experiencing life and love and being responsible and task-oriented and successful. So now it's more balanced. So we brought you from, I think you were saying 75-25.
Right.
And to 50-50 in one session.
Right.
2 hours. And that's what I am so excited about, because anyone can do this, and we can be changing our lives, and we can be saying no to these patterns once and for all, but not spiritually bypassing them so we're getting ill and it's coming out a different way, but actually addressing them gracefully as we go along, as they come up, as we see them, and most of the time just cruise in this place that you're in right now, this balanced, happy, proactive, illumined, peaceful self.
I'm excited about the possibility for the world and how the world can change.
I am so excited about that. And that's what these books are all about.
Because one of the things I realized in that session was I had disconnected from my emotions of wanting to be nurtured or even, pushing through not getting enough sleep, not listening. Because of the mission, the big,
The mission was all important.
Right. And how in the world we have all these different pockets and parts of the world where people are really crying out for humanity to listen and hear what we need. Help us be here. And we can do that for one another.
It's so true. As if we're not going to give ourselves peace on earth and heaven on earth in our own life experiences, how do we think we're going to have it on earth? You know what I mean? Like, there's such a big movement for peace on earth, but then we're not peaceful. We're arguing, we're fighting with our loved ones, we're stressed out, we're drinking too much coffee, we're not sleeping enough, so we're more irritable. I mean, how really are we going to have a better world with all this going on? We really do need to tend to our inner worlds. And I love what you say about that and about clearing your pattern and clearing the way in your own life to have more of that, more harmony, more heaven, more peace, and having your mission going on. So it wasn't like we left behind your mission and now you're going to sit around like a Buddha and be, floating in the water and kind of, up in this airy fairyland. You're still the grounded, amazing together woman you were before the session, but now you're just having more time too to be in your illumined self at moments, to be quiet, to enjoy life. I had a really significant The Quest session, and I write about it in book 2. And I really had the opportunity, and it was one of the most landmark moments in my life to see that I had a humanitarian mission that was driving me, just like I experienced with yours. No self-life, but I was actually able to go in the future and see for the next 27 years I was on the phone in this high-powered business mode mission. And that by the year 2027, nothing had really changed in the planet, but I had accomplished, heading the trusts and this global Earth Vision project. yet I had had so personal time for all those years in life. And it was this profound experience over my birthday in 1999, where I spent some days really traversing where I was going with this patterning. It really came alive to me to see what I was doing. And it really shocked me because I thought my mission was God-oriented or divine will or coming from, a higher power or higher part of me. And yes, that vision, and I still hold that vision, but the way I was implementing it was very much human patterned. And it's a pattern that you uncovered and that so many of my clients have uncovered, where we get so mission-oriented that this whole ancient encoding about self-sacrifice, self-denial, personally not being important in the equation is the keynote.
Thank you. We do need to take another break, and I want to let our listeners know that we're listening to your music, Renaissance of Grace, from one of your 3 CDs. It's very healing, very uplifting music, and that is available at Amazon.com, and your books are also available at Amazon.com, also on the website and in local bookstores. You can find them around the world. They are as well. And you can go to Aurora Juliana Ariel, AuroraJulianaAriel.com. There actually is 2 A's in there. AuroraJulianaAriel.com for more information. We'll be right back.
Do you have an inspiring message, skill, gift, or product to share with others? Would you like to reach thousands of people across the island with this message at a reasonable cost? Call Liah Howard at 808-269-3137 and become a guest or sponsor on Mind, Body, Spirit Inspirational Talk Radio. Mind, Body, Spirit is dedicated to bringing our listeners quality, uplifting programming focused on nourishing the body, mind, heart, and soul. Now is the time to be a guest or sponsor, so call Liah today and get your message heard at 808-269-3137. That's 808-269-3137.
Are you interested in saving money, saving gas, and giving a helping hand to the planet at the same time? Have you thought about carpooling to events, to errands, and to work? CarpoolMaui.com is here to help connect people that are interested in sharing rides on the island. Email rides@carpoolmaui.com if you'd like to try to connect with others and ride together. Also, Carpool Maui is looking for locations on the island where people can meet, leave a few cars, and move on to events and less vehicles. If you have any suggestions for parking locations or any other suggestions to make carpooling a reality on Maui, just email rides@carpoolmaui.com. Have a look at their website, carpoolmaui.com, or email rides@carpoolmaui.com. Your support is what will make this idea work. Shift your thinking.
Aloha, I'm Cindy Palos, and I want to invite you to learn how to transform your life with light exercises and words of inspiration. It's all in my new book, There Is a Forever. Alan Cohen said this book is filled with divine healing essence and intention. Every page contains jewels of love and wisdom that can make a huge difference in the quality of your life. My website has info on how to get it and also some videos I've done recently at book signings. There Is a Forever is available at Borders, the Maui Marketplace, Barnes & Noble in Lahaina, and you can get it online at thereisaforever.com.
You see your way clear, one step at a time. Just know that you're here. Just know that you're here for the love in your life.
Hello, I'm Psychic Channel Liah Howard. Are you wondering what your next step in life should be? Let me help you see your way clear and move into a place of more love and harmony with your soul's path. I offer private psychic channeled readings, group readings, and couples sessions. Phone sessions are also available. Call me at 808-269-3137. That's 269-3137. Or visit my website at www.liahhoward.com. LIAHHOWARD.com.
You see your way clear, one step at a time. Just know that you're here.
Welcome back. You're listening to Mind, Body, Spirit Inspirational Talk Radio. I'm your host, Liah Howard, and our guest today is Dr. Aurora Juliana Ariel, and she has her PhD. She has done many years of research. She's authored a couple of books in the 2012 series of The Quest, and she has 3 music CDs, which are all available on her website, aurorajulianaariel.com. During the break, we were talking about a wonderful little thing where a woman from, was it Australia? Found your book and contacted you on Facebook.
Yes.
And it's just an example of the little miracles that can happen. That as we open more to our authentic self, instead of the victim, stuck self, there's a whole network. What I realized from my session was there's a whole network of allies that are out there and that are available to help.
Yeah, we don't have to kill ourselves over our missions. And I think we need to, because so much needs to be done, and we think we have to do it personally and handle every little thing. And I think a lot of people are finding they can't do it all. And you did in your session and really made a shift. So now you're making room for more of the divine hand in your life, for life bringing its miracles. And for me too, I've gotten pretty driven in the last 9 months because I've been launching EOS, my company, multimedia, to bring out my work and music, books, and films. I have 5 collections of music, books, and films I'm launching. I'm also producing and writing them and training students. So, it really takes me a strong inner focus sometimes to make sure I'm not operating out of the shadow and my subconscious, but I'm staying in the authentic self. So I do this work all the time. As I come up feeling too driven, too overworked and burdened, I'll be doing my next session. And so I just keep moving myself back to my authentic self and operating out of there. And then what I'm finding is life is taking care of a lot of the things I thought I had to take care of. So the woman in Australia literally goes into a bookstore, and my book, she says, made her buy it. Now, I thought that was the cutest thing. My book made her buy it. So when she got home and she looked in it, she said, and now I know why, because I need to know about the quest and I need it in my life. When she wrote that, I really relaxed. I was like, okay, I don't have to kill myself to get this out to everyone on the planet. Somehow, the book's going to get itself out. The quest is going to find the people it's meant for. We don't have to do everything under the sun of our missions. There is a divine hand playing out. And I see this more and more, and I really speak to it in book 2.
Well, you really look at the positive side of 2012. I mean,
Yes.
a lot of people look at the dire predictions and catastrophes, and you're really looking at it from a whole different light.
I see both potentials, and I always have. In book 2, I really speak about some of the early visions I had as a teen and how I saw 2 different futures. And I do still believe we have that choice every day, and every day we're casting our vote by, are we in our authentic selves, or are we being pattern driven? And our patterns are going to lead to more demise and sickness and hardship, but the more we're in our authentic selves, the more we're going to birth a beautiful world, because it is that part of us that is our Edenic nature. It is Eden internally that can externalize Eden in our physical world and in our realities. So the more we give our power back to that part of us and let it play out in the world, the more we're going to see systems curing themselves and healing modalities coming out and people restoring themselves and happiness and peace.
And miracles are a natural state of being.
They're an everyday thing, but when we're really driven and we're doing it all ourselves and we're carrying these big loads, we miss it. And we don't give room for miracles because we think we have to do it all and make it all happen. If we don't do it, no one's going to do it, and we have to work hard for success. You know what? It's not true. What St. Francis said all the way those years ago when he said, look, birds are not toiling, trees are not toiling in flowers. Why should I toil? And he threw that life out. It's not that we don't want to be responsible and take actions, but let's take them from our authentic self and let's make room in our lives to have more peace and let life take care of itself and make the miracles happen. So,
and would you say the authentic self is more of a soul vibration?
It is our true self. It really is what people call God within, and what Jesus said is the kingdom of heaven is within you. You know, he didn't lead people to an outer thing. He led them inside. You know, the kingdom of heaven is within you. The authentic self has been called the higher self, the sacred self, the inner self, the God self. It is a part of us that is peace, is always happy, is always complete. never needing anything, never tainted or ruined by anything we go through. This is one of my most exciting discoveries of being directly in the psyche. I never found once evil at the core of anyone's being, even though we dealt with a lot of hard stuff and very like violence and abuse and all kinds of things. I never found it. I only found overlays of these personality dysfunctions. But at the core of our being is the self, and we can find it easily when we clear the way to it. And then when we live in it, that's when all the miracles and synchronicities are happening. And that's what's happening to awakening souls worldwide. They're, by all these inner practices, by focusing and allowing themselves to be connected to spirit, there's miracles occurring, and then there's a lot of help that is helping facilitate and support humanity to awaken in our time and to move into a better future. And I share amazing stories in that book and mine. I come out of the closet in the sense of
that's great,
from my doctor's scientific side, and reveal more of my mystic healer
and
side.
I think if you're needing a reminder of what the authentic self is, just sit with a baby who's about a month old, 2 months old, and look into their eyes and see that perfection and that beauty and love and presence.
We are that. We are innocent. We're pure. And we have felt so ashamed by our shadow because we feel like we're bad and wrong and somehow misfits and not deserving of love and
so
unworthy.
If we could also love the shadow of the world, the shadow of the earth, then that's what helps to create that different destiny in terms of light and healing.
Yes, we need to look at our shadow self not as something bad that needs to be shunned and locked down in a cavern and cover over with tons of earth and get it away from us. Meanwhile, we are feeling, ashamed and that we're really evil. We are those parts we blocked away. No, we need to embrace them and hold their hand and bring them up to the light and help them be transformed. Just think of your emotions, even the darkest ones, anger and rage and jealousy and things you feel ashamed about. Think of looking at that in a different light. Think of immediately when that's happening, instead of getting into the story and letting yourself be overcome, think of really embracing the part of you that is feeling that way, as if it was a best friend or a little child. And now, step back from it and take its hand lovingly, compassionately, and guide it through the Quest 7 steps, and it will be totally healed and transformed.
And the external life will change. I love that story of the woman who was having a difficult time in her relationship. She dealt with some very deep victim consciousness in her being, and suddenly her friend said, what, your husband's so different.
It was like night and day. This woman had been abused for 20 years.
Wow.
This husband was harsh and angry and critical and judgmental, and she had zero self-esteem.
Right.
And she talks about her life now as before Aurora and after Aurora, because when the quest came to her, her body was breaking down. She didn't want to live. She had gone through 27 years of this kind of a marriage, and she had no self-esteem. And she was this brilliant, amazing Christian evangelist who had given so much to life, and a healer, physical therapist. And we literally only did a few sessions where we found the part of her that was patterned for abuse, that had no self-esteem. We healed and restored it, transformed her inner world. Immediately the husband changed, and no one could believe it, and we never did any work with him or even spoke to him about it.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ariel. Thank you so much for being our special guest today on Mind, Body, Spirit. I want to let our listeners know that this is available, this show is available on Mind, Body, Spirit, and also you can go to www.aurorajulianaariel.com for the 2 books and for the 3 CDs, and there'll be upcoming books in the series as well. And look for your website. You can find out about your Egypt trip that you're going to be doing. That's very exciting. And anything else just in closing you'd like to add?
Yes, I'd like to invite everybody who wants to come on this amazing pilgrimage to Egypt, March 2010. The focus is going to be on Earth 2012 and the awakening, and we're going to do the quest processes at Luxor and at different exciting places and stay at 5-star hotels. It's just going to be phenomenal. So go on my website, and please, everyone, sign up for to be on my newsletter, because I'm going to be giving the Quest book away for free on my birthday, August 25th.
Great. Thank you so much, Doctor.
Thank you.
Have a most beautiful and blessed week.